Hi, I'm writing today from my little office space. You can make one anywhere. Mine is actually made in the front part of our foyer, which goes out to what's supposed to be the front door no one uses. And so I pulled a curtain, it shuts across here and separates this part from the rest of the house. And did various things and made myself just a little spot, piece of plywood over a stand thing is my desk. And it's sort of semi-private. It's just a curtain, but when it's closed, everyone knows, kind of try to leave me alone. And it works, except that you can have the best writing spot on earth and you still might not write. And so what I want to talk today to you about is writing creatively, co-creating with God. It just occurred to me that the reason I wasn't writing was I didn't know what to write, and I had a ton of great ideas, but nothing was standing out. And so I prayed about that, and I woke up at 3 a.m. and I saw the title of the book, and I was able to write. And so what you see on my screen behind me, which I have covered because the light is messing up the recording, but that is the first pages of my new book. It's actually happening. And I no sooner had that revelation and saw the name of this book and then knew what it was supposed to be about, then I opened an email and I saw this interview with entitled Creatively Co-Writing with God. And this man named Alan Arnold has interviewed a man named Thomas Umstattd, Umstattd, Jr. And so it's very good. You can go and find this. I actually found it on Steve Lobb or Lobby literary agent blog. And so the first question is, what is the main roadblock writers face in their creativity? And Mr. Umstattd says, you've worked with many authors. Oh no, I'm sorry, I got this. Oh gosh, I'm sorry. He's interviewing. Alan Arnold says, what he did, and he says, he's talking about co-creating with God, and he says, co-creating with God is entering into what makes you come alive. So instead of piddling at this and trying at that and staring at the blank screen and all that, you have life in your writing. And he says, God infused each of us with unique interests, passions, talents, and desires. And we each have a unique variation, voice, and view, and a unique draw. And so he talks more about that. And it's all beautiful, and it's a wonderful, wonderful interview. But I love this part. Co-creating with God is a dance with Him rather than a solo performance for Him. I think we just grieve the heart of God all the time with all our doings to try to please Him instead of going out and playing with God. We want to write things like that change people's lives, like The Shell Seekers by Rosamund Pilcher. My favorite book by her is Coming Home. That truly, to me, is a life-changing book. I like all of her books. And I like that, if you can see this, I got this book for $1. I didn't tear that off. It was torn off. And so I got this book for $1, which makes it that much better. But it's worth full price. Anything by Rosamund Pilcher. And whether she said so or prayed so or not, she was co-creating with God to make these books that are still being sold all these years later, that people still love. Women of all ages, from all backgrounds, love Rosamund Pilcher. So if you want to write something like that, or just a short story, she did a lot of that in her beginnings, or something like Simple Pleasures, Soothing Suggestions and Small Comforts for Living Well Year-Round. Or if you want to go to the writer's market, I do this year after year. I don't know that it's ever helped me actually get published. Well, I know it hasn't, but because I've self-published, but it gets me in the writing mode. So whatever it is you're reading is a powerful thing, and it's programming you, and whatever you're putting into your mind is programming you. So if you want to write, as Brenda Uland says, a free and jolly book, then take care that that's what you're reading. It's very important that we program ourselves before we write. We don't just sit down there unprogrammed, unprepared, unprayed, and sweat blood and try to write. there's a lot of books written like that, and you can kind of tell it when you read them. They're just not that helpful. Another thing about writing is write about your writing. So this is my journal. Today I got a revelation, and I'm going to change gears a little bit, but this applies to writing. It's about making decisions. And I said, in looking at this decision, I realized the futility of analysis. You know, the phrase paralysis by analysis. How far away is this? How much would it cost? What is the payoff? Or I'm better off doing what I'm doing. Is it, this? Is it that? Are there too many problems with it? And it just hit me. I'm looking at all these things, doing this world's way of analysis, pros and cons to try to come to this decision. You could have 1,000 cons and 1 pro, and if that 1 pro was the right one, then all that stuff is irrelevant. So that's not a way to go about things. So the only question I've written here, the single consideration is, Lord, is this for me? So apply that to our writing. Lord, is this what you want us to write together? Show me where I am analyzing instead of trusting. Now I'm going to give you a little aside here that doesn't really have anything to do with writing. Well, maybe it does, because I think if you're a writer, everything has something to do with writing. I have been over-analyzing food and fitness and health and diet and weight loss. And so I went a couple of weeks ago, and I was, by golly, anytime you do that, by golly, I'm going to push myself, and I'm gonna. Doesn't usually work out, but we're going to try it again. So for 2 weeks, I didn't eat. I ate bread twice. It was super healthy, small portions with breakfast. And I did intermittent fasting, and I didn't drink coffee with cream. I drank green tea and herbal tea, and I ate small portions, and I took walks every day, and you name it, I did. I drank lemon water, and for 2 weeks. And at the end of 2 weeks, I gained a pound. And it made me mad, so I went in and had made 3 pieces of buttered toast and ate some ice cream, and which is how that always ends up. And yet, we try again to do things in our own strength. So let's co-create our entire lives with God. Thanks for being with me.